Welcome today to your first thermal cooking class. I'm so excited to teach you about thermal cooking and to talk about Saratoga Jacks. The first thing you need to know is why you bought this product. There's three reasons. One, it is green, it saves energy, which is fabulous. If you can save fuel in an emergency and get maximum amount of food for the least amount of fuel spent, that will conserve the fuel for longer extended uses. The second reason is it keeps your dinner hot for up to 8 hours. That means you can literally start this over breakfast. After you're finished with breakfast, get it on and take 15 minutes, and dinner is already cooking all day long without you having to worry about something being plugged in, and it's going to be hot and ready when dinner time comes. And the third reason is it's portable. The design that Saratoga Jacks has done has made it so that you can get it started, get it on, put it in the car, it keeps cooking wherever you go. That way if you're traveling, it becomes a great companion for being able to have good home-cooked meals without having to eat out on the go. So three great reasons why you bought it. Let's get started on your first cooking lesson. We're going to make one of our family favorites in the thermal cooker today, and you'll learn how to use it so you can apply it to other recipes. Alright, through the magic of television, we cleaned it up a bit. Alright, today we're going to be using a butane, portable butane burner. It's very simple, similar to a camping stove, but butane, which the fuel looks like this, if I can pop it out. The fuel looks like this. Butane is actually a very safe fuel to use indoors, whereas propane needs to be used outside, charcoal outside, fire outside. In an emergency situation, if the weather's icky outside, this becomes the thing that I would use inside. Now, to start it, you just, whoops, you have to lock it, you just, okay. Now we don't need it on high yet. We want to conserve some fuel. I'm putting on the thermal cooker, the pot. It's empty right now, as you can see, it's empty. I'm going to use a little bit of oil. As you can see, it's empty. I put a little bit of that oil in there, and I have thawed out and ready to go a bit of pot roast. I'm going to set it right in there, and I'm going to get this nice and hot. Again, this is fabulous because I'm cooking in my house. I could certainly do this on a hard surface inside of a tent, or I've also taken this butane burner with me when I travel. It does come in a little carrying case, and I've been able to cook on a table and get this going. I'm going to braise this pot roast right in the pan with the oil. I'm going to sear in all the juices. So, and while it's searing, I'm going to throw in, with the oil, a little bit of garlic. And of course, along with that garlic, I'm going to throw in a little bit of onion. So as it's braising, we're going to go ahead and give it some good flavor. I like to do all my seasonings in with the meat before I actually add the liquid, so that all those flavors get sealed in as I'm searing the meat. As you can see, that's just searing in with that oil and the garlic and the onions. We'll do all sides of that meat. We'll get it good and sealed in. Okay, along with the garlic and the oil and the onion, which then is again, it's starting to smell really good. I'm going to put a little bit of seasonings in there. One of my favorite seasonings to use in a good pot roast is something, in fact I use a seasoning a lot when I'm using beef, is something called Montreal steak seasoning. McCormick really, owe me some money for these ads, but honestly, I've also seen it sold as like a Canadian steak seasoning. But Montreal steak seasoning by McCormick was what I started with originally. It's still one of my favorites. I use it a lot. I'm going to go ahead and put it on all sides of the meat as I'm searing everything in. So there are two spices I like using in addition to garlic and onion. I use the Montreal steak seasoning and then my secret recipe, which I don't tell everybody. When I do a good beef pot roast, I use dill weed. Now I go ahead and put quite a bit in, maybe a good tablespoon and a half. And I also use a beef base or a beef bouillon. I prefer to use the fresh kind out of the fridge. If I had to, though, I would use the other in an emergency that's dry. Put a good 2 to 3 teaspoons of that in there. And now that it's seared and the juices are locked in and all the good spices are in there, we are going to add water. Water is essential in thermal cooking. We will go ahead. The secret to thermal cooking is to get whatever you're cooking over 212 degrees. That's a good solid boil. I'm going to dump all this water in. Okay. And I'm going to now I'm going to turn it all the way up. All the way up. And we're going to get this to a good hard boil. It actually needs a little bit more water because I'm going to be adding potatoes and carrots and more chopped onions to my pot roast. And I want to be able to cover everything with water. Now that I have put the water in, I'm going to go ahead and let that lid go on to trap in the heat and to get it to start to go to a boil while I finish chopping up the rest of my carrots and potatoes and onions that I'm going to put in with our pot roast. And as you can see, I've now put in the potatoes and the carrots and the onions, and of course the meat is in there and the liquid. It's a nice brown color. We are going to thicken that into a gravy type of substance, but not until after we get it to above 212 degrees. It's just when we get a boil. Once we get it to a boil, we're going to let it boil for at least 3 or 4 minutes till we get a good hard boil. Then we're going to add our gravy packets and we're going to pull it off and turn off our fuel. Okay, so it's almost to a boil, and even though I need it to be soupy while it is getting to a boil, I really like my pot roast thicker. So what I'm going to make is a roux, and what we're making it out of is 2 of these brown gravy mixes. Now if you don't have these, but you've got bouillon, beef bouillon, flour, and cornstarch, you can actually, those are the 3 ingredients that you would make this brown gravy mix if you were making it from scratch. But I use 2 packs of this because I really do want a good gravy. And the way you make a roux is you want it to have the least amount of lumps as possible. You want a good smooth gravy, and how you do that is a whisk in a small bowl. I'm going to take some water and I'm going to pour just enough in here to actually make a very thick sort of paste. Get started, get it all wet. Okay, and then I'm going to really get it going. This is a nice pretty color. Okay, it's been at a good hard boil for, ooh, that's hot. Use your pot holder, use common sense, for about 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm going to pull off this lid and I'm going to go ahead and pour in this roux gravy mix to thicken it up. And I'm going to put a little cracked pepper in just because it's my grandmother's pepper mill and everything tastes better with grandma. Put that lid back on, let it boil again for about 1 more minute, and then we are going to put it in our thermal cooker and turn off our fuel and be done. Okay, it's been boiling good now for about 5 minutes. That's plenty of time. I'm going to go ahead and be common sense, it's hot now. I'm going to take this hot boiling dinner off and I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to lower that handle, I'm going to seal it shut, and we're going to turn this off. Now the meal is sealed in. This is cool to the touch. I'm able to go anywhere I need to go. Tonight we're having this at a park. It's the last day of school and summer started here where I live. So it's a fabulous meal where I saved energy, fuel, time, money, because I'm not eating out at fast foods. I'm not worrying about last minute at the end of the day when I'm tired. I cooked my family dinner earlier in the day when I had energy and when I was up and doing other things. So my day is done. My big job for the day is done to give my family a wholesome meal. I'm Amy, and this is Saratoga Jacks Thermal Cookers.